G'day cocktail lovers. Going in the book this week is a cocktail called the Improved Vermouth Cocktail. You'll see that semi-often in cocktail names it will have improved in front of it. Now, how improved is it? That's obviously going to be a matter of personal taste. Calling cocktails that, the improved whatever, goes way back. Probably the most famous one, certainly it's got a very big part in cocktail folklore, is in Jerry Thomas's late 1800s Bartender's Guide. He introduced the concept of the improved whiskey cocktail and the improved brandy cocktail. Essentially, the original versions were what we would call an old-fashioned now, and he added a few ingredients and called it improved. If you believe the folklore, people used to just ask for a cocktail and they'd get what we call an old-fashioned now, or a whiskey cocktail. They might specify brandy, but that's what they get. And when people who still preferred the original one ordered a cocktail and the bartender who'd read the book of the improved cocktail started getting the extra ingredients out, the story goes they'd say, no, I want it the old-fashioned way. And hence we call those cocktails an old-fashioned. It's an interesting story, but honestly, I'd take it with a grain of salt or a drop of saline solution, because that really brings out the flavor in your cocktails. Ha ha! Bartender humor. But seriously, there's no reliable documentation for this story or pretty much any other bit of folklore around cocktails. We don't even know conclusively why we call these mixed drinks cocktails. I found this recipe for the Improved Vermouth Cocktail on the Difford's Guide website, and it caught my eye because it isn't the sort of cocktail I'd usually make. So my initial take was, hey, it's time to get daring and do something unusual, and I ended up being extremely surprised with how much I liked it. The big difference from my favourite style of cocktail is there's no spirits in this, which makes it comparatively low alcohol by volume, a bit more than one standard drink, so it fits into what we call sessionable. You can have a couple of these without getting completely smashed, if that's what you want. There are two different amari in this cocktail, and the Difford's Guide just recommended. It was a very soft recommendation for what amaro to use. I'm going with ones I have on hand or ones I like. I recommend you do the same. Don't be bound by me or anyone else's hard line with particular amaro. Use the ones you like or the ones you have. This cocktail is more than 2/3 sweet vermouth, so it's important you use one you really like. And don't forget, store your open vermouth in the fridge. It also calls for orange liqueur. I'm going to be using my homemade blood orange liqueur. First amaro I'm using is Montenegro. I think it's softer and easier to get into than a lot of amari. My second amaro is averna. It's a little more viscous with deeper flavors, almost caramel or cola tastes, and it is a little more bitter. And we'll be rounding the whole cocktail out with some chocolate bitters. They complement the amari really well. Even without a base spirit, there are great flavors in this cocktail. So if you want a tasty cocktail that you don't have to feel too guilty about, this is going to suit you. Here's how we make it. In a mixing glass, put 60 ml or 2 ounces of sweet vermouth, then 1/4 ounce or 7.5 ml of an orange liqueur, 1/4 ounce or 7.5 ml of an amaro, 1/4 ounce or 7.5 ml of a second amaro, and rounding things out with about 4 drops of chocolate bitters. Add ice to the glass, but you don't need to stir this as long as one with a spirit, so 15 to 20 seconds so it gets chilled and a little diluted, and then I'm straining that into a chilled Nicanora glass. I also decided to add a garnish of a twist of orange peel, one of my favourites. I think it's going to go very well with these elements. But let's see, I haven't tasted this in well over a year. Do I still like it? Yes, I do. These elements, the vermouth and the amari, and the little orange brightness in there, they go really well together. The chocolate bitters is playing off the amari in particular well. But obviously, as I said, the sweet vermouth makes a big difference. You really need to be using one you like. This one's from South Australia. It's really fruity. As you see, it's really dark red, and I do really like it. If you're into the classical cocktail templates, you'll notice this doesn't match them. No spirit. It's all fortified or aromatized wine plus some liqueur. So this is really just someone came up with the idea, what would these go like together? And in this case, someone is Simon Difford, and they have gone together really well. Just goes to show experimentation is worthwhile. I do so many cocktails for my cocktail channel, and a lot of them I just look at a recipe and go, yeah, I'll try that. That looks okay. They're not all. So a lot of them middling to average. Some are good, and you get a couple that are exceptional, and they're not always the ones I expect. Case in point, I wouldn't have expected this to be one of my favorites, but it was in my top 10 of 2024. So I really do recommend you try an improved vermouth cocktail. Cheers.